Hello, welcome to the video on organizational buying behavior. What are we talking about here? Well, if you're someone who has been in the industry and just basically been in the more operator level and haven't been in a managerial position, you might not understand what we're talking about directly. You've been influenced by it, but you might not understand what we're talking about. We're talking about businesses and organizations as our customers. All right. We think, well, no, we cater to the public. Yeah. But a big part of the public is other businesses. Okay. So this is what we're going to talk about here. Now, you'll notice that it was organizational buying behavior. All right. This is different. Selling to a business is different. The behaviors, what make the decisions or influence the decisions from an organization are completely different. Well, I won't say completely different, but certainly different in many ways from individual buyers. Okay. And that's what we're going to discuss. This will just be a quick video, just kind of setting the stage for everything you're going to learn in the chapter. But I did want to touch on a few things. And the first off is, all right, the marketing mix, the 4Ps, right? You got product, price, place, promotion. Are those Ps different for organizational buying? And the answer to that question is absolutely. You think about the product. Is the product a hotel room? It's going to be a hotel room no matter who you sell it to, right? Not necessarily. All right. We might make adjustments in that product as far as the features of the individual rooms. Certainly, additional things like needing spaces and stuff like that. So it's going to be a different product, right? Because when a business blocks out 10 rooms or an organization blocks out 10 rooms of a hotel, sometimes they're going to want dining facility, private dining facilities, or catering, or whatever. And then beyond that, there might be other needs, certain special things that you wouldn't do for a normal person. The way you're collecting the group from the airport, or maybe providing security for assets that they bring along with all kinds of different stuff, right? So the product is going to be different. The price, here's the thing, the price is going to be different. Generally speaking, if you try to charge the high end of your revenue management to an organization, you're not going to get any sales, right? So it's very important that we adjust that price. But we also have to keep in mind that our entire revenue management, right? So if we're a company that really markets and pushes organizational, 70% of our occupancy at any given time, that's kind of an exaggeration, but a large portion of our occupancy at any given time is always going to be people at discounted price. Well, then we have to be careful of that, right? Now, the advantage of that is if we discount the price and we get it, we get the commitment for 10 rooms, 12 rooms, a whole wing, the entire facility, whatever, that increases our occupancy rate. So because I harp on this a lot, our products are perishable. Having to jump through a little bit more hoops to fill that occupancy with discounted room prices might be worth it. Right? It's certainly better than leaving low occupancy. Now, if we're in a beach place and whatever, and somebody wants to come in and says we're going to buy 12 rooms or whatever, and these rooms are always sold in the busy season, we're not going to offer any discounts. All right, we might because we have to take into account: are these people going to be with us in the long run? Are they going to be part in the slow season? All right. And if they are people in the slow season, sometimes you have to bite the bullet. So these are decisions that have to be made. So getting back to the marketing mix. So place. Well, remember that marketing is not just after, we've got a business, we got a product, we got everything. Now we have to market it. That's not it at all. Marketing is from day one, right? When we decide where our hotel is going to be, or our restaurant's going to be, or our venue area, events venue, or anything. When we decide where we're going to locate that, generally speaking, we have certain factors of that place selection or that location selection that are going to lean more towards organizational things, right? If we're next to a large convention center or a uh, like in Raleigh, the Triangle area. There's a lot of hotels that just support the Research Triangle. There's people, there's scientists and people and businessmen coming in and out of there all the time. Those hotels are strategically located to support that organizational business. All right, so now we might be want to get foot in both markets, right? We want to support the family vacationers or the travelers, the people that are just going point A to point B. So we're going to be off the throughway at a place that's convenient, or we might whatever. But those decisions are going to be made, right? And it's up to you to decide that what is most important to you, right? So if we're out in the country somewhere, uh, far away from anything, uh, we're not going to have any business to business, right? We're not going to have any organizational business. No, because there's also things like retreats and stuff like corporate retreats that happens all the time. So it's always going to be a consideration, and in some business models will be a primary consideration. Others it will be a secondary consideration, but it's always going to be there. Okay, so we said price or product, price, place. How about promotion? Well, you're surely going to promote to organizations different. B2B, you'll hear this a lot. B2B is business to business. It's actually abbreviated as capital B, letter B, to the number, and then capital B, or sometimes TL or whatever. But B2B, business to business, you're going to market that differently. I can tell you right now, as someone who tried to sell to a different product altogether, but to businesses, it can be hard. And let's talk about some of the reasons why it's hard. When we have an organization, not an organization, when we're selling to an individual, all right, the person making that decision is the individual. Yes, there's influences, but the person making that decision, this person's money is being put down on the table for that purchase, right? That is not the case in business to business or organizational, but you can take that person and call it or the people that makes the decisions, where it's a person on non-organizational, it's a group or a center, you can call it, and the book calls it the buying center. It's not oftentimes our brains, when we hear the word buying center, we think of a room full of people that are like the call center, but they're the buying center. They make a decision. There might be some elements to that, but the bottom line is the buying center just represents all the people that we have to consider when we're selling to an organization. And that starts with the users, the people who are actually going to be doing the trip. If it's at a restaurant or whatever, it's the folks that are going to be sitting in the chairs ordering our food. If it's at a hotel, those are the people going to be sleeping in our beds or using our venue spaces. Okay, so then you have influencers. Those are the people who, when they organize all of this, they are going to have influence because they're trying. The influencers, think about it this way. Think about the influencers are the ones that are applying the needs of the business into the decision, right? They're saying, okay, you need to book travel for this, that, and the other thing, because you need to do this, this, and this. There's all that influencing that's giving you the purpose of going to the first place, right? Then you have the deciders. So it's all influence. You got a person doing it, and then you got a decider. The person deciding says, okay, this is where we're going to go. All right. Now, sometimes it stops there, but other times you have approvers. Um, Trying to sell to an organization is very difficult because it's like, okay, do you like my presentation? I love your presentation. Great, sign right here. Well, now I have to bring it to the board. What? All right. Um, it's just another step. If you get angry or take that kind of thing personally or don't understand that it's a necessary step, you can shoot yourself in the foot and not cater to the decision makers, get angry with it, and then it trickles down. So understand there's decision makers, right? And then there's approvers, right? The approvers are very important. You can't just discount them. Then there's the people that say, okay, all these people thought about it. Then there's the people that actually write the check, right? The buyers. Now, in there, at any given place in there, but generally at the beginning, you also have your gatekeepers, right? If you're trying to get up with, if you're trying to actively market, actually sell to organizations and you're the salesperson at a hotel and you're calling different businesses and say, yeah, look, I understand that you guys have um, your annual trade show in our in our market in our city coming up, and I would like to see what I can do during your business, whatever. That makes perfectly sense. People expect that, right? But you have gatekeepers, right? When I call, am I calling to the buyer or the approver or even the decider? No, I'm calling to somebody other than that. I'm calling to somebody who's not an influencer, who's not a decider, who's not an approver, who's not a buyer. Right? It's somebody else. It's a receptionist, whatever. Now, the gatekeepers are very, very, very tough because some gatekeepers take their job seriously. I've been a gatekeeper. As an indoor salesman, well, I had salesmen come in all the time trying to walk right by me, go through the back room, go to the offices. I'm here to see the boss, and it took one time for me to think, well, he must be here. You know, the boss must know. It took me one time to realize that they don't. They're just going to do it. So as a good gatekeeper is trying to keep the wolves at bay, right? So understand that when you're selling business to business, there are going to be gatekeepers. And to get aggressive with the gatekeeper, to say, let me talk to your boss, and to treat that person with indifference or rudely is a waste of time. Because I tell you right now, the boss asked the gatekeeper, how did that person see? Well, he was rude as heck. And then, or they sit there and they make it through and they talk to the boss, and then the boss says, yeah, he made some good pitches. I'm thinking of going there. But what did you think of? Well, he treated me like crap. Boss might say, no one's going to treat my people like that. He might not, but anyway, gatekeepers are very important. All right, so when it comes to the influences, remember last week, I think it was last week, I'm almost positive was, we talked about the influences on an individual. We talked about the factors influencing the cultural, the social, personal, psychological, and then you have the buyer, right? So all those filters go to the buyer decision. Um, in a organization, they're a little bit different. Environmental, it can mean the green movement, but it also means the business environment. If the business environment sucks, if business is in turmoil, uh, there still might be a need to have travel, but the factors, the decisions as far as budgets and stuff like that is going to be influenced by that, right? So the organization itself, is the organization one that likes to treat its people good, or they don't care? They're going to put people in $25 night rooms. Been there, done that. So the organization is important. The interpersonal, the relationships, the individuals, the individuals, the people now who are the users, who are the influencers, who are the deciders, whatever. There might be some prejudices in there or some different filters that they have. So you have to understand that. And then you have the individual, the person that is actually using your product. The person is going to be staying in our bed, eating our food. All right. And then they have the buyer. So I just wanted to really kind of, there's a lot of really good information in Chapter 7 about the organizational buying information or buying behavior. But I really wanted to give an overview of, first off, how important it is. Second off, it's a balance, right? If you are a business that caters to business, then you can do it in such a way that you can make good money. But if you do too much in a business that's primarily catered to individuals, your revenue management can be screwed up. All right, so it's very important that you take this seriously, right? But the biggest thing is they put people in our rooms. They put people sitting in our chairs at a restaurant, right? We're perishable. Our products are perishable. I'd rather have somebody at a discounted price where I can guarantee 80% occupancy than be at 20% occupancy at full price. All right, that's the bottom line. So that's the video. I will see you in the discussion. Have a good week, guys.